Yo, yo, welcome to CypherBeast TV. I'm the host with the most 24/7, and we got a cat, a B-boy, someone in the world that's been breaking for 30 years and shaping the world of judging, teaching, and understand the breaking. We got Bboy Jurskee. Yo,
What up?
what's
What
good?
up?
How you do?
Thanks for having me. I'm good, man. I'm good. Just
Good,
wanted to join.
good. Yeah, and there's a few things I want to tap into. Some of like the judging system, tap into a little bit your storytelling, like when you were in the Olympics as a post judge at the time. A little bit storytelling about that. But before that, I want to go back all the way back to your beginnings. So like, when did you started breaking?
So I started breaking. I'm always like calculating, but it's probably around 94 that I really was like, okay, I want to learn breaking as a style. But when I was young, I was always like into skills. So it was sort of a
Hmm.
way to sort of deal with the social pressure. Like I found out like as soon as I had something that I was good at, that they would sort of like I didn't have to be the social dude. Like I wasn't that social. I was sort of like observative. So
Okay.
I basically gradually went from skateboarding, which I did for 10 years, like from when I was 10 till I was 20, like very fanatic. I went
Oh
to break.
wow.
And when I made that step, I think what basically happened because I started in the 90s, meaning that the 80s was already past. I didn't really catch that. Um, so but somehow like it started coming back right in the early 90s in the Yo MTV rap clips. Like skateboarding was sort of gravitating towards hip hop at that moment. And
Yeah.
like for me there was a lot of similarities with skateboarding, which I basically learned by just going out every day, having some friends that were better than me, and watching a lot of VHS tapes. So as soon as I saw breaking, I was like, "Oh, this is pretty similar. Like, there's no authority. It's not like a sport where you have to be like on the sport and there's an instructor. It's just like, it's you're by yourself, and you're just sort of trying to find your way into a certain subculture." And I really was attracted to that part. And yeah, so it started with zero information. Like just my brother was into graffiti, so he had like some documentaries about hip hop that showed
Mm.
also parts of Rocksteady, of course. When you think about Beat Street, Star Wars, Wild Style, like those sort of documentaries, he had them or videos or films, and that's when I sort of like just the same way I learned skateboarding. I was like sort of analyzing whatever I saw on those VHS tapes and try to mimic it. And yeah, so that was then back then. It's mad fun.
Yeah. Yeah, when you mentioned VHS tapes, that was an era of that time, getting passed around with videos and people were learning those movements and really getting um gravitate to that and really learn from those moves and before creating different styles, before we had mentors and coaches, all that build up. So you're pretty much, you know, um help create that in the scene to build it up, living part of that culture.
I mean, like basically what happened is because I was like a 16, 17 when I got serious. I had an older guy in my crew, Pascal. Like we called him Puck. Puck. I don't know why he was called Puck, but like Pascal, he was like 7 years older than me, and he actually already performed in the 80s. So as soon as we formed the crew, like we met each other in at this gathering where they would like it was organized by a bunch of graffiti guys showing like how do you call slideshows with graffiti, and they were playing like old school hip hop and electro, like really like big 808 beats, old school rap, and then they had this atmosphere that was perfect for breaking, right? So that's one of the first
Yeah.
places I was getting down. Like I just came solo, right? Or I came with my brother maybe, but I met him there and then we connected. But since he already performed back in the 80s, he was the first one to school me on getting our business straight. Remember that scene in
Mm.
what is it? I think it's Wild or Style Wars, where it's Rocksteady against Dynamic Rockers. And they're like, no, it's a
Hmm.
tie, it's a tie. And you see Crazy Legs holding up a card, right? Like a business card with that says press of the Rocksteady crew and blah, blah, blah. And like we were mad inspired by those little details. Like, yo, they even have business cards. They have their names on their shirts. And like we have to get those things in order as soon as we start putting ourselves out there as a crew that, in order to get work. So the part he schooled me on and the part that I think that I really wrote that whole exploration, like running into all kind of challenges road, is that we at one point decided, yo, we want to keep doing this, and just we became hustlepreneurs, so to speak, like hustle with our dance and do
Yeah.
whatever we can do to keep breaking. So whether it was teaching or doing shows in clubs or at festivals or whatever, like I think it was there in the 80s, but then it died out. Like they pulled the plug, so to speak, right? There was no information anymore. Breaking was played out. So they just, the generation before us, they couldn't really live that dream to sort of make a living from breaking. And
Hmm.
for me being here talking to you, still being invested in breaking, like for me, that's the pioneering that we did, like just trying to find ways on, how can people take our dance serious, and what platforms can we present this to, and what value can we add with the stuff that we do and the way we do it. So uh,
Yeah. And tell me a little bit more about your crew. So Turn It Loose crew.
yeah. So
I
Turn It Loose
saw.
crew, like it's not very known in the sense that we're not a battle crew. We've never really been a battle crew, because we started but we grew up on the fact that we needed to have a crew. Like in hip hop, everything had a crew. Like all the information we were being fed, all the 80s videos that I just mentioned, but also Battle of the Year, like it was all crews coming out representing countries. Like hip hop in the 90s, it was all about crews. If you're doing graffiti,
Yeah.
you're in a graffiti crew, in a rapper crew. Like in the 90s, there was DJ crews, like the Wax Wankers or whatever. Like everybody was rolling in a crew. So that was basically the first question, like who you represent. And in our case, we entered the talent show, just a
Hmm.
very small local talent show. So we needed a crew, and so with the people we were training with, was like, "Yo, who's down to do this talent show and make a show?" And then
Yeah.
it was because of Pascal that I just mentioned. And Cat 22 was like a famous graffiti writer, but he got back into breaking. They had all the knowledge, like they were going deep when it came to hip hop knowledge. So they said, "Yo, Turn It Loose is a dope name because it's always in the playlist of Cool Herc, and it's the favorite song of
Hmm.
Crazy Legs." Like, they would know shit like that. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, we need to have 3 words. Just like rock, steady, crew. It needs to be turned it loose. So cool. Like we were
Yeah.
rapping turn it loose. But then because we were a crew, now we got like all these people being like, oh, breaking is back. Yo, can you come and tell us about it? And can you do a little showcase in the studio? So we had like TV interviews and whatever. And slowly we sort of like we liked it, because we're like, oh snap, we can do our showcase everywhere. So this is what we did for I think at least 3-4 years before the battle started popping off.
Hmm.
Because or actually like we were already breaking for 4 years, 3 years, but then the first battles in Holland was like around 98. So we started like 94, 95. And then the only reason we were breaking was basically to just throw down at hip hop parties. That was it. Like we go to concerts, hip hop concerts, and then just create a cipher on the floor. Or there was like these all element parties where there was a graffiti jam going on and a DJ's playing, and we would break. But there was the competition element that was
Yeah.
basically not what formed our crew. It was more like we want to represent what hip hop stands for, what breaking stands for. It was more like culturally motivated, and in a way just trying to relive what we saw on videos. And of
Yeah.
course, we were surrounded by countries like Germany with Battle of the Year popping off already in the early 90s. So those VHS also started coming to Holland. So like during the first forming years, like that really formed me and formed the crew. It was like Holland basically waking up and old school heads waking up again and forming crews. And our country is pretty small, so we would travel out to different cities, and like Rotterdam had some like high level pioneers like Paulo Nunes and Carlos out there, and we had like all these cities that started getting these crews that were just breaking. They were just practicing. They were like, "Yo, it's being done again. Let's go. We can still do this." And then people like me that were new to it and were like, "Yo, let's do this." But it was mainly the whole surrounding, and the reason we got down was just to be at parties and to be at events, basically. But
Yeah.
not the way you know them now, where everybody comes the breaking part. No, it was just like regular parties with a hip hop flavor. So yeah.
Yeah. Because back then they were your crew would be breaking, popping, even DJ. You
Exactly.
you
Yo,
will have
we had
a
a boogie man.
mix of everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We had a boogie boy for real. No, because also the music, and I don't know. I think later I've been told this is a European thing because Scheme has been staying with me like after every IBE, like around
Oh, no.
2013. Yeah, he was here, and then when I was still like living by myself, and he would just spend some time in Amsterdam, and we would talk about music a lot. And I said, "Yo, like in '90s was a lot of electro." He said, "No, there was no electro in the States." Like, but because they when they pulled the plug basically with the information,
Mm.
like all the
Hmm.
documentaries that we were left with had a lot of like these. They were in music wise, they were making this transition from just like funk to sampled hip hop and 808s to synthesizers, you know. So Arthur Baker doing the soundtrack for Beat Street, for instance, like we thought that was breaking music at first, you know, or all these
Oh,
electro albums, like we would listen to them because they were good for and popping and breaking. We thought until we heard like the real like DJs like DJ Lisi like bringing out really like just some obscure breaks and just really the emphasis on the breaks and on the funk and on the rare grooves. But before that, like we saw this is the original music. This is like some old school, like not funky beats even. Like it's the
you there?
you know it's popping music if you hear it now. All right. Oh, what's up?
Yo, yo, Jurskee. I think the internet something got cut off here a second ago.
Yo, I'm sorry, man. I
Oh,
think I
you there?
yeah I broke up. Like what happened is my internet switched to another fucking signal. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. So basically, sorry. So what I was saying is that the music we saw it was connected to breaking, which was
Hmm.
electro. It allowed poppers to dance, but and we thought it was perfect for breaking, but it ended up just being a very short time period in the musical history, and it wasn't necessarily the break music that it's supposed to be done to, right? So yeah, it was funny times, but like you said, like we even practiced locking routines. Because also we
Ooh.
thought you have to have it all. You have to have a boogie boy and a locker and but nah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I seen those back in the day videos. There's the breakers, and then the you mentioned Boogie Boy, the popper will come out, and then you'd be like, oh, yo, yo, your popper kind of come out and take this
Oh,
round. Let's go.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's a cool lineage back then that I think it's different nowadays, right? But definitely a great thing to recap and reminisce and watch because I think that time is cool because not only you're just breaking, but you mix it all up with the crew and it makes it more
Yeah.
dynamic in a sense
Yeah.
of performances, sense of, but not so much competition. Just, yeah. So we're more structured and different now. But
True. I mean it shows more historical awareness in a way, you know? That there was like these styles and they're all connected to. But I mean then again like if you see the whole discussion that we of course had with the Olympics and the word breakdance, like in the
hmm
80s breakdance term was used as an umbrella term for also stand-up styles, for West Coast styles like locking, like popping, you know. So they had to sort of like narrow it down to the ground part, which was really the breaking part, you know. But we didn't even realize, like the way in the '90s, the way we were taught was, no, breakdance is just a term for the people that don't understand the culture. Like, but this was like
mm,
rocksteady propaganda, of course, where it was like, yo, getting people back to the essence, because they saw what happened is that the breaking basically spread out through secondhand information, which is all the videos, all the documentaries. People caught on to it, but never really got to the source and never got anybody explain them the way breaking was counted or at what moments you would go down. So there was a lot of like re-educating that needed to happen in the '90s, where when the term b-boy was only reserved for people that were sort of got the stamp of approval, right? But so
yeah.
yeah, we were part of that phase. But for me, it was always breaking that attracted me, like the ground moves, just like the spinning, the rotations, like just the style, the character. Like I like popping wasn't for me. The same with locking. Nah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel you. I tried a little bit pop and lock, like the wave and stuff, but breaking always stuck to me a little bit more.
Yeah,
So nice, nice.
yeah.
So you Were you always in you're in Amsterdam? Have you always been there or you live somewhere else?
Yeah, basically, so where I grew up is very close to Amsterdam. It's like a suburb, Amstelveen, and so
Hmm.
it's 20 minutes from Amsterdam, 30 minutes. So I grew up there with my brother, older brother, younger sister, and went to school there. But as soon as I sort of got some freedom, so I was allowed to sort of like make my own moves, I would go to Amsterdam and experience the nightlife and experience culture and stuff like that. Because the neighborhood I was living was like really like just laid back, a lot of just white, very like straightforward families. Like, and then at some point when I got deep into skating, I felt uncomfortable walking in the center of that town there while I was
Oh.
living.
Uh-huh.
Until it clicked and I found out like, yo, what's missing in this surrounding is creativity. Like people didn't allow each
Mm.
other to be like free or a bit, expressing themselves in a way that had, that I was sort of getting into with all the culture. Because I would be the kid that would come home from school and just watch MTV music videos all day, right? And get inspired by all
Uh-huh.
the flavors and the styles and the things. And then so I would want to look like that, but then in my neighborhood, it was like, "Yo, why are you wearing a cap?" Or "Why are you doing what?" There was a lot of like, I could feel, even if they wouldn't even say it,
Mm.
you could
Right,
feel,
right.
"Oh, you're different," right? But Amsterdam was like, bro, like anything goes. Like you would just like you would feel like you were dressed down with you after a day in Amsterdam because people would be you would see the weirdest people and be like, "Oh, snap." So that's basically where I sort of started gravitating to, and then um, when I started studying philosophy, I also like I moved there, which was like early 2000, 2001, I think. I moved out of my house, so out of my parents' house.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, the question I was thinking too, or during those early times, how did you get in touch with like the breaking community? Did you just meet a bunch of people from different cities and kind of word of mouth could get their phone numbers
yeah.
to connect?
No, it was
Because
it
before,
was basically it was parties, of course. Like, if you would actually end up at a hip hop party, they would promote the next party or whatever. Like promoters would make sure there would be
got it.
flyers there for the next party. And of course, we slowly started connecting. Whenever we met new breakers, we asked for their numbers, and if it clicked, we would check like, where do you train? Yo, come to my training. So in '95 already, I was still at school, and I wrote this paper for my as a class assignment, and I chose as a subject to explain them the difference between rap and hip hop. So
Oh.
since I was, of course, getting like this information through those documentaries, and I observed like in the '90s already, hip hop, like the only element that was active and still out there was rap music. So I was like, nah, but I learned something else in the documentary. So let me interview all the people that were like a breaker, a graffiti writer, a rapper, a DJ. Ask them about the '80s and ask them how things changed to now and why it matters that you sort of uphold the four elements, right? So that was my goal. And during that writing that little article or whatever how you call it assignment, I actually got in touch with people in all the way up north in Holland, which is like a 2 hour train ride, which for Holland seems is long, right? Because we're small country.
Hmm.
But because I met some people in dancing in a club and they were like, "Yo, you break?" Like, yeah, we didn't know there was breakers here. Like, yeah, yeah. And they come to a training one. So I was like, "Yo, I need your number. I want to interview
Mm.
you about," because they were dancing in the '80s as well. So they invited me to training, and basically that's how I sort of like I started traveling to train with people, and they would correct me with certain things. I was like, "No, I'm not super stubborn." Like, "Yo, you have flat hair.
Hmm.
You have to dance like this." Like, it's my style. But slowly I started learning, like, oh, okay, you know. But no, that's basically how it went. Like all the time you meet somebody else, and you share some time on the floor, and connections are made, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool and beautiful thing because like, everyone has their own lineage of storytelling, how they got into breaking, and a lot of it from those early times I spoken to in previous, it's very similar in a sense of, they connect with word of mouth, meet some people in different cities, and they connect the dots through there. And so it's kind of cool to see in a different, region. You're out in Europe, but in the States, it's almost similar in a sense,
Right.
but just different people we connect and meet. So I think that's super dope, but cool to hear that in your story as well.
Yeah.
So,
It took guts too. It was really weird because like I saw it, I was so fascinated by it and I wanted to do it. But I remember like already at these school parties we had, like I was still going to school and there was like school sort of discotheques, right? So you had your Guns N' Roses guys with the headbangers, and then it was like the guys doing the Running Man, because this was like the kid and playtime sort of, right? So this was
oh, right,
after
right. Yeah, I
breaking, but
can play.
so people would do I don't know even what the move is called, but a lot of the guys from Light Feet do it, where they jump through their feet. So you grab one toe and you jump through it, like things like that. I
Oh,
would
like a
always,
thread?
yeah, 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 they would already, I would already sort of try and do it during parties or a knee drop, but I didn't know much of breaking. And then I just reminisced because I knew, of course, his talk was coming up. But one of my first performances was solo during.
Oh.
I was on a school trip, and we were like somewhere like all the way down south, and there was carpet. But I brought like a CD with that had like it was a compilation CD with all old school tracks on there. And one of the tracks that I put on was the White Lines from Grandmaster Flash,
Hmm.
knowing it
Nice.
was about cocaine or whatever. White lines going through.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, that's a dope song.
But anyway, I put that song on and I just started busting a solo just for the heck of it. Like nobody knew why I was doing that shit, what it was connected to, but I just felt like, yo,
Uh,
I'm gonna perform because I know some moves. So that's really the humble beginnings. Like, and it's just this weird urge to show people something that you can do, but at the same time, like already dress up in a way that's obscure. Because I would, for instance, wear ski goggles because I saw it,
uh-huh.
like Scheme wear them, right? Like the graffiti writer Scheme in Star Wars. And later on, of course, I saw Quickstep wear them in Step Into My World video. So this was like a b-boy. I would come out with ski goggles, like doesn't make any sense for anybody, because the
Yeah.
like in '97 we were doing like a TV show for kids, and we had to sort of play our own crew. It was me, Pascal, and Lombro, and I was wearing the ski goggles like '97, like
Mm.
Adidas, whatever, whatever we thought was b-boy, and it was sort of leading people to that culture, or gave us a way to sort of reflect that culture. But we knew it was weird because people would ask questions like, "What the hell?" Like weird. But I think I felt at home in this place where people would be like, "Yo, what is this?" Make them question. It took some
Yeah,
some
that's
some sort of guts, I guess.
that is. That's sick. That's cool.
Uh,
You got any footage back then for that performance?
yeah, yeah. Actually, I have the footage of the. Yeah, I can send it to you.
Oh,
I can send it
oh,
like
that would be
a
sick.
video clip because it's really the first time we were on television, and it's a dope edit too, because it's
Oh,
the backstory is it was this guy, a very creative guy. He came from skateboarding and he wrote graffiti too, arson. Like he was remaking old fairy tales. So this one
mm,
was about
mhm.
Pinocchio going out in the street and meeting these street cats, right? And then he
Yeah,
comes back and he lies to his maker, and his nose start growing, right? So they did a remake, and here he's being like, there's a guy making puppets, and the guy's being sent out to get some cigarettes for the maker, and he meets these street
yeah.
kids, but they're like, "Yo, we're in trouble. We're challenged by this crew, the Mokum Rockers, which was us, but we don't have it. We
Mm.
we don't know how to break." And then they beat up with us, and we battle them, and he smokes us. But he does, like, the guy who smokes us didn't even dance. So the best guy of our crew had to sort of wear his clothes and make it look like he beating us. It was mad funny. But no, so it was a dope storyline, and we were just like busting moves. But nah, that
Dang,
was
tight.
cool. Yeah.
How
Back
old are you? How old are you? Back in
um
'97, you say you started. 94, or is that
I'm
right?
now I'm turning 49 this year.
You're turning 49. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm from 77. So yeah. In 97 I was 20, turning 20. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
Dang,
started
yeah, you got a
around 17, something like that.
yeah, you got a lot of history uh,
Mm.
behind breaking, the culture of it and the elevation of it.
Yo,
And you've
it's a
been in a
trip.
lot of uh world-renowned competitions, in judging, in a sense of just overall, yeah, mainly judging, right? Are you mainly judging right now? Are you competing at all?
I still perform with my crew as
Oh,
well. Like we
perform.
do showcases. Like it's funny. We have like one uh, um, employer who found us in '99, and then they kept hiring us. So
Oh,
we still
nice.
work for them. It's insane. Like when they found us, like or when they discovered us as a crew, we were still going to school. Then we started going to our studies, like universities, whatever. And now we're having kids, and they still hire us. So it's insane. But we do
Oh,
that,
wow.
and we do like with the crew, we still do like some gigs for entertainment bureaus that basically they need like a short act. We always kept it breaking, so we do like a 5 minute showcase, and it's just like some classic
Mm,
ground power moves and some routines, like almost like a how do you call it? Like a 4 man balladier routine, you could say.
mm-hmm.
Oh, and we never compromise. So we always use our own music, always break music, and we just busting moves, and they like it because people are always impressed by breaking. So this is something I still do. The judging really picked up, especially like basically what catapulted that whole thing is. I must say IBE because I started working at IBE 2010, and we were actually
Mm-hmm.
performing at the first IBE in '98 as a crew. And then over the years, I got closer to Tyrone, the main organizer, and he
Yeah.
put me on at IBE when I asked, like, "Yo, can I do something?" And he said, "Yo, I want you, to host talk shows and to help me with, brainstorm about programming." I'm like, "Oh, damn." I was ready to pick up people from the airport or lay a floor, but he was
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, no, we always have good talks and, you have some brains." So I ended up since 2010, like moderating at IBE with a lot of the talk shows. And
Mm.
usually,
Okay.
like, there's so many competition that he needs judges. And since our crew was not battling that much, and I was like from a sort of an older generation, I think early on, early 2000 already, I started doing my first judging gigs and gradually learned more and more about judging. And then when the Olympics came around, I knew already I was familiar with the judging system that Renegade and Storm were creating, or that they already implemented in 2018 in Buenos Aires.
Mm-hmm.
I had them on a lot of talk shows to talk about judging. So I was really interested always like, yo, it's weird that we don't even know what we judge battles on, right? So but at the
Yeah.
same time I was
Yeah.
super skeptic about systems because the first time I hosted a pan or a IBE talk show about judging was with Dizzy. I think it was 20
Okay.
2011, and he talked about our system that he because he was then working with R16, of course. And we had a lot of questions, like if a system, if we need a system, like do we like does it limit dancers or does it create clarity, like all that shit. So
Yeah.
I really got invested in it, and then as soon as I signed up and became like a certified judge for the dance sport thingy, then I started traveling like crazy because like people knew me already from judging international events. So there was they needed some trust, right? To be like, okay, that's a familiar face because a lot of people got certified that some people didn't know about. So yeah, then it popped off and it's been a crazy ride actually. But it's an honor. Like I never hustled for a job because like that's not how it works with judging, right? Like people either trust your judgment or they've seen your decision making process and be like, oh, okay, the guy knows what he's doing, or they
Mm-hmm.
don't. So I have no control over that, but I'm super grateful that it brought me so many places and connected to so many people, right? So yeah.
Was it you're talking about the Olympics judging?
No, yeah, I mean the 4 years
Or
prior to Olympics, that's when for
uh-huh.
me the most traveling took place because every country had a national team and they all needed to be judged using the judging system that I had in place
Mm.
for Olympics because of course they want their athletes to get familiar with the way they will be judged if they make it to the Paris Olympics, right?
So I know they had a different format. I know you mentioned the judges system for Olympics, and then also, there's also like the Dizzy system. There's also the Trillium system.
Yeah.
So
There's a whole history there.
what? It's a whole history, right? Right?
It's a whole lineage. I mean, I can break it down if you want, but it's like basically there was a lot of complaints, like already end of like early 2000s. There was just complaints in all our hip hop scenes, competitive scenes, like that the judging was just untransparent, like some events were just a mess because judges kept on giving ties, like there was no clarity on
Mm,
what was going on, right? And like it's basically our own fault because there was no script, right? Like it was just if you really think about it, like how judged competitions came about. Some people point at Battle of the Year to really have a judging panel made up out of OGs or just big icons, influencers, people that shaped the scene. They would be flown out to Germany, and then they would do a showcase, and it would be the first time people saw the people that they only saw on
mm,
VHS dance, and they would almost have like this authority because they were better than everybody else, right? But over the years now, I think there's some people still in the seat that cannot do half of the moves that are being done, including myself, like because the level
hmm.
is insane.
Yeah, yeah.
So what happened is some people like also quit breaking, but still were being invited to judge one or two, 3 times a year. Um, and then, of course, it becomes problematic when breaking becomes all of a sudden a sport. And there's these other entities
Mm,
like the IOC asking like for transparency and for clear rules what this dance is being judged on, right?
mm,
So slowly there was like and I think it started with Dizzy already realizing with the bigger crowd that was in Korea that they didn't know what was going on. They just saw 1, 2, 3 and it saw a hand and he, and I remember Dizzy saying like, "Yo, we're gonna lose a bunch of people if they don't know what's going on. So I need to sort of make this thing clear." And then he came up with
yeah.
the hour system, and he had like 5 judges for 5 categories, and that were specialists, and they would judge on just one thing and then at least he did a lot of interviews I think with a lot of pioneers to ask them like what is breaking about, and one person would tell him it's all about battle, and the other would tell him like it's all about foundation, and the other would tell him it's all about
Mm.
musicality, and he ended up saying, you know what, I'm just going to put all those. He ended up with 5 sort of like ways to look at breaking, and I put them on a chair and they decide, they compare the dances and they decide like who takes the win by count by adding it all up. But I felt tension there, and I think others as well that created the system that came afterward, because then you sort of force
Yeah.
judges to sort of like do a tunnel vision and only look at their elements. So let's say I'm there for originality and the other person is there for execution. Or no, let's say I'm there for dynamics, for power moves. Somebody does
Hmm.
the most rounds of 90 ever, but he crashes on his face, right? um,
Yeah.
then I'm the one judging the dynamics. I'm like, oh, this has never been done before. I need to score him like super high, but he crashes on his face. Like for me as a judge, it would be really weird to not take that into account. But now it's like, yo, the execution judge will punish him, and I will see whoever won afterwards. Like, nobody at a certain moment knows what the outcome is because they're just like, okay, and like it's like comparing it to having a chicken soup with 5 ingredients, and you have the best chefs to only taste one
All
element of the
right.
soup, and then so they taste the temperature of the water, the salt level, the tenderness of the chicken, whatever. But then if you ask one of these chefs, like, but how does the soup taste? Like it's
Mm,
kind of weird if they cannot give you an answer, right? So I think what replaced it was sort of a holistic way of judging, where every judge takes full responsibility for who they thought was stronger.
Hmm.
but it needs to be transparent and it needs to be sort of taking the levels that this dance has into account. So, like basically, as soon as I heard about Trivium, which was the system that was created by Storm and Renegade, what they
Yeah.
did is they said, "Yo, there's three main domains that have to do with qualities that we can always see in a performance, which is there's a physical quality, there's an artistic quality, and there's the quality that they call it the interpretive quality, but it's your skill to sort of like bring whatever you prepared physically or mentally, like artistically, bring it in connection with the music and with the here and now, right? And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense because I'm like, oh, the physical part, yeah, that's the competitive part basically, or the sport part where we look at like, yo, who has the craziest physical ability and athletic skills, but that's not the whole picture, right? Because in hip hop and in breaking, yo, we need to know like who you are, what's your character, what did you bring to the plate, right? So
Yeah.
that's when artistic quality becomes just as important. Like, yeah, but so that's personality, that's concepts, that's ideas, whatever. But if you only have these two and it's not done to the music, like we can basically just turn off the music and you still do the same routine, it's not breaking either because it's a dance, right? So then this part becomes just as important. So there's these three elements and they basically imbalance all of the time. And the only thing they did during the training is make people aware of these three areas, what they all contained of. Like, so how can you, because our job is to compare. Like we're not there to sort of score you on a solo. We're there to sort of compare who who won on this quality domain, right?
Hmm.
Physically we compare the dances, artistically we compare the dances, and interpretively we compare the dances, right? And it maps out to breaking being a sport, breaking being an art form, and breaking being a dance, right? Because that's another discussion that popped off as soon as breaking was accepted as a sport in the Olympics. That people were like, "Yo, but it's not a sport." But that's because those people didn't experience it as a sport. Their motivation was not to do it to practice it as a sport. But it doesn't mean that you can still, if there's rules and there's competition, yo, you know what? Then it's already a sport. So it depends on your personal motivation, what it is. So I
Mm.
think I came to the conclusion pretty early on that breaking is just a hybrid. Like it can function in a lot of places and still add value. And what it really is depends on how people practice it and what it is for them, you know? Because for some, it really is only art. It has nothing to do with sports. For others, it's only dance. It's just like losing yourself in the music. And for others, it's only about, you know, pushing the boundaries physically, right? So they want to test themselves to others and see like, yo, where do I stand? But I feel like if we look at the people that got the medals in Paris, it's the same people winning local jams, you know, because they showed the
Right.
whole,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because people were afraid, yeah, now some crazy athlete will win that does the most spins. Well, nah, man. So in a lot of ways, I think that the groundwork that was laid by Renegade and Storm saved breaking from a lot of how do you call it, alienation, so to speak, or misrepresentation of breaking. Because in most sports, as soon as they become competitive, they come with some standards, and you have to do routines, like do these moves, and if you perform them
Mm.
perfectly, you get the highest score. Like there's no scores in breaking. There's just like it's always been an argument. Like you do this, well, guess what? I do that. And then it's up to the judges to basically be like, okay, during this round, who had the best argument, who was stronger, who was dominating, right? And that's our
Yeah.
job, you know, nothing else. So nah man, but the whole process it was weird because there was so much, how do you call it? It was a big switch in a way. It was a switch to now all of a sudden trained judges, even judges that had been judging for years, were made aware that they didn't take everything into account, or were maybe judging
Mm.
too much based on their personal taste. Which, of course, your taste is how do you call it, formed over the years of experience, and you sort of have a certain view on things. So you can definitely not put somebody on the seat that doesn't have any experience or doesn't recognize things for what they are. But when their own opinion becomes the leading force, then you get like, how do you call it? the judging will be not consistent, because that means every time we have a different panel, because this is a discussion that a lot that we still hear, like, yeah, it's all subjective, you cannot
Right.
judge my art. But so why the hell enter competitions then, if there's never a true winner? Like, that's weird, right? Like, I'm sure we share values
Hmm.
that make us able to see things, like whether somebody has the quality. And sometimes you need to grow into it, for sure. Like, some things you don't see at the first time. When most people, when they're young, they're only impressed by power moves. So they're like, you know, they wouldn't
Yeah.
even be able to read a go down of Ken Swift and value it, because they don't even know what's going on there, right? With all the direction changes and all the character and the style and the inventions that he put in there, right? So they're just like, nah, but he's not spinning fast. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I can talk about this forever. So sorry.
No, no, it's cool. It's cool. It's good. It's good understanding, for the viewers and audience that are listening, and good for me too to listen. These are type of things that, kind of a little bit behind the scenes that we don't discuss about too much, that we don't know. And I think you give a little better perspective and a sense of that category and topic, right?
But
People
yeah, I'm
do
sorry
wonder.
to, like, they still create problems. That the fact that we don't have a shared vision on how it really works, it still creates problems. Because, like, a nice example, we had a talk show at IBE called No More Ties, right? This was something that Renegade would always, no more ties.
Uh-huh.
And but then we started out with the question, what the hell does a tie mean? So I asked the audience, like, what does it mean when something
Mm,
like this? And but the funny thing was, like, we got a lot of different answers, because some people were like, oh yeah, they were evenly good. Like, okay, but we can always find something. So
right.
what could be the motivation of the judge? That could it be that he's tired, he doesn't see the difference anymore? He's like, oh, one more round, let's go. Or does the person communicate, I'm not here, you guys fix it, you know, even though he's being
Mm,
paid to make decisions? And a lot of times with the judges, he will be like, I want to see some more. I want to see some more. But if you're getting lazy and you're not paying attention, it's actually a disservice towards the people on the floor, because they're like, yo, it was clear. Why are you being like, why do I have to sort of throw more of my arsenal out for your indecisiveness? You know, do your job,
mm-hmm.
make a decision, have some balls. So this was like a weird thing that as soon as we got over it, and there was like systems that didn't even allow you to give a tie. So most of the systems that I use digitally, digital systems,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
you have a slider, but if you leave it in the middle, it says, yo, you have to make a decision. So
Oh no.
yeah, you just,
So you have
even,
to force
but
you to pick.
of course, because you can show like, it's gradually. So it's either like a big difference in imbalance, or it's like small, so you can like, but there's still a decision, right? So it's just like, yo, just make up your mind, that's what you're there for. And sometimes it's painful, because I heard this interview with Ken Swift the other day where he said that in his day a battle was not decided, like, it could take some time. Like, his argument for a tie would be like, yo, you didn't win yet, you didn't win yet. He said basically had that
Mm,
example where, okay, there's two people punching each other in the face really hard, but nobody goes down. Who won?
right.
For him, it's like, certain battles have to go on, which I can relate to, because that's what happens in a cipher, where you sort of do the last man standing, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna test your stamina. I'm gonna test whenever you run out of moves, or of course, then that's what you do.
Yes.
But when you enter a competition and there's a certain amount of rounds, come on, man, make up your mind. As a judge, like 1, 2, 3, it that's the job.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's painful. Sometimes you're like, fuck, this is really close, or this battle shouldn't have happened this soon. But nah, man. So yeah, we just need to move past that. That I feel. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, well, I mean, I guess you spoke a lot about on different perspectives. I was going to ask what's a complete understand about judging? I mean, it can be so subjective and different levels, but
I mean, first of all, I think you should know what you're there for, what you're asked to do, right? And I
yeah.
think one of the mistakes that I still see, both on the side of promoters and organizers that hire judges, and on the people that accepted jobs as a judge is uh, that people think they're being asked for their vision of the dance, like their preference. So basically, they're there to gatekeep the direction of breaking, right? And if
Mm,
that's your understanding, um, so basically, let's put it like this. I think when you're asked to judge, the confusion sometimes is that people think that they're being asked as a person, who did you like better, instead of who did you think was stronger. And that's a very
mm,
slippery slope, because of course I can understand that when there's a legendary judge, you really want to know what they liked, or their opinion. But
yeah.
what they're there to do is not coach the future, but assess the present, right? So, and I see still this mistake being made sometimes, that people feel like, yo, if you change this and this, you can be really dope and blah blah, and they start giving this kind of feedback. But no, it's really you against this other person during a round. Who was stronger? And did you take all qualities into account? So not your expectation of, oh, I know this guy, I'm sure he's gonna take this round, or
Hmm.
none of that, or like, or it's my friend or it's crew. Like, the first time we got, as a breaker community, got confronted with the word conflict of interest was during the training of judges. And people were like not having it. Like, what do you mean I cannot judge my own crew? Or I cannot judge
Mm,
when I'm a coach? Or it's I have a preference for my country. Well, it's visual, like, because now there was a line of 9 judges. And if you're the only one that has a vote the other way, and we can see a similarity in, or a pattern in your votes, because it's all the time it's your country, well, then there's something going on, and you need to reflect and see what's going on with your bias or your preference, or maybe even your fear for scrutinization by the people that you're close to. So I remember, like, one of the rules, for instance, right? If you wanted to become a judge for in the road to the Olympics, was that you couldn't be a competitive competitor yourself anymore. And this, for other
oh,
people, was like, wait, but that's my side hustle, because since I'm a famous breaker, uh, I get these jobs where I can sit on a chair, front row, and make decisions and get paid.
right, right.
Yo, and they also didn't like the fact that I needed to be trained. Like, train? Who's gonna train me? I already know everything. So it was a hard process, and it was also rust, so it wasn't perfect, because some people ended up on the chair that you know it's the hot seat. It's you got to be sure about what you're doing, and you actually need to
Yeah,
know what you're looking at, because some people pass their theory exam and then got to put on the chair. But you also need to pass your practical exam, which means, like, a lot of times being on that seat and dealing with the pressure and the repercussions and whatever, and being ready to explain yourself for every vote you make. It's not easy. So for me, to come back to your question, it's a service that you basically provide to the scene, very humbly, because, like, I don't, I cannot force anybody to sort of book me as a judge. So the trust that I get every time somebody books me as a judge, in my opinion, or not opinion, but in my expertise on seeing imbalances, whatever, that's something that I feel it's a service that, it's super dope, because I still enjoy, of course, watching breaking. And over the years, I also realized you have to be able to appreciate all the dialects that we have, meaning all the different styles, all the different approaches. Like, it's so, like I said, it's not my job to point breaking in a certain direction. Like, I don't even have that influence. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, over the years, where do you see it going in a sense of, I mean, I guess, a lot of breaking development, is it becoming more structural? Or you think is like maybe losing its soul?
that's such a hard question, because, like, truth of the
Yeah,
matter is, the soul is always there. And it's just depending on who enters breaking, and some people have it, some people don't have it, right?
right,
There,
right,
but
yeah.
it's sad, but it's true. There's this song. It's actually by a group called Soul, Soul, and It's yo, this song is the best. Uh you should
Was
look it
it?
up. It's called like it's called Soul. Soul, but it has dots in between. And there is this guy and he says, like, people tell me I don't have it, but what is it? Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but like if I tell you, you can't change it. Soul. And it's just talking about somebody lacking soul. But nah, I don't
Uh-huh.
know, man. Like I'm just joking. But the thing is,
Yeah, yeah.
like one big thing that changed, and I've talked about it in a lot of these interviews. But I always try not to sound like nostalgic or whatever. But I think the environment breaking was passed on in before was usually without parental supervision. Like you were out, you were in clubs, and there was like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
elderly guy who actually could throw some moves, and you'd be showing interest, and you'd be like, "Oh, I can teach you." And it was all like this environment was really like there was some tough love involved. Maybe there was first a battle or a challenge, and then slowly you would get some pointers. But you had to show the hunger, right? But the big shift that happened is now there's parents that live that maybe are b-boys or b-girls, and they see they have an active kid, and they push them into breaking at the age of 4 or 5, or in China it's even in diapers. Look, it's insane. So they get into what you say in a system where it's like basics are being drilled in a classroom with mirrors, and
Mhm.
before the people that actually get into breaking get ownership of their dance, there's already like 10 years of education, you know? So there comes this weird phase where when you can make your own choices, some of those people, students, don't even know if breaking is for them. But they're super
Mm.
talented and they're winning battles, right?
Yeah.
So I feel this part got a little bit lost. Also, competitions is the part that's the most visual. So like when you're in a class and you're a talent, you start entering competitions. But at all these spaces in your class, in your practice room, at your competition, you don't have ownership, or how do you call it? You cannot choose when to throw down. It's already being chosen for you, what music is playing and whatever. So I think that's a big difference with my generation. Like we developed a style of music we would like to go down to because we had that freedom. Like if there was a cipher going on and you're not feeling that beat or that song, you're like, I'll wait. And then when the music hits you, that's when you start acting. And I feel this little thing where you react to the music, like we train people not to ignore that. Like whenever it's your time, they say it's your time, the bottle spins and it points to you, or you're on the red side or the blue side or whatever,
Mhm.
or your name is being called, that's when you have to go. And the longer you do this, the more you sort of get disconnected to developing your own taste on music and whatever, because I don't know, I've been teaching for a long time, right? And at one point, all
Yeah.
the media we had changed. So I started with cassette tapes, then it was burned CDs, then it was
Right,
like
right.
reeds, like iPods connected to stereos. Now it's people on Spotify, whatever. I asked my students, where do you store your music? And it was so weird. Like some people just have playlists in their Spotify. Some people have mixtapes saved, but where? On a computer, on a hard drive? Like it's really
Right. Yeah,
like
yeah.
before, like we were all sort of DJs. We created like I had an iTunes archive, and at one moment it was too big, so I had to write it onto an external hard drive. That was my
Yeah.
music. That was like my there was, of course, you had at a certain moment we could rip music, a LimeWire, back quality, whatever stuff we used to do. But still, we would
LimeWire,
search
yeah,
the
yeah.
title, we would know the title, and then we would, if we wanted to listen to that song, we would search that particular song. Like it's not like a playlist now that keeps feeding you good beats, but you don't know any of the title, any of the artist, any of anything, right? So I feel all of these things, are they bad? Are they good? I don't know. Like I find it very hard to judge whether it's bad or good, but I do see the difference. Do see the change. Like simple example, like taxi drivers used to know all the street names out of their head. They had actually they did
Mm.
brain scans, and it was like this extra knob in their head because they stored all the street names. And now
Right.
like it's useless because we have GPS. So is that a bad thing? I don't know. Do you know the phone number of your girlfriend out of your head? Like most people don't. Like, yo,
Right. We have
when
it
we would
saved on
go on the
there.
street, it would be a
Mhm.
problem if we wouldn't be able to say what the phone number of our parents was, you know? So,
Yeah.
well, but
Yeah.
it just changes, bro. Like I believe it's changes, and I think if there's still value in how things were, the only thing we can do is show it. And then if it catches on and people are like, oh, this is different. Yo, I like this better than what I'm used to. Then apparently there's still value in the way we used to do things, right? But I think that's the only thing we can do. And apart from that, it's all good. Like because bro, the in an international level is insane. Like the new talents that come out, like the clips you see on
Mhm.
the timeline every day, people throwing new styles, new moves, new like just I love it. So that part stayed the same, I feel. But you just need to know where to search, right? So but it
Yeah.
has been like that forever. Like I told you, when I started breaking, nobody was doing it. People were like, "Yo, why the hell are you breaking? That's played out. Plus, you're white." You know? So,
Right, right.
so I'm used to just doing something that like only a few people did, and I'm sure those people that they're still there. There's breakers that you don't see at any big ass competitions, but they will smoke you in a cipher, some grimy dark cipher, because
Oh,
that's where
yeah.
they live. They're like these, these fists that are super deep on the ground with a lamp. They're
Mhm. Yeah, every
so
city has
we don't have to be
somebody.
all up there in the sun on the main stage. No.
Yeah, 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 100%. Some of those underground breakers can be hidden somewhere, but they just didn't pursue
Yes.
that path
Nah, but that's the
of
beauty. I think
exposure.
that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. Like nobody's forcing you to do it. There's so many different platforms. And I think that's during my lifetime, that's what I've seen like just grow. The amount of possible dance floors that we have for breaking, it just multiplied. And I think a big change with the 80s and now is that we have way better advocates for breaking that are able to translate what we're doing to new
Mm,
people or outsiders on what the value is. Even if it comes to hip hop education, the values that we pass on and the way we structure learning, it's a big inspiration even for formal education because they have a hard time like keeping people interested and involved, and then they see something like breaking or hip hop in general and how it just how it lights a fire in people that they are not able to achieve because it's top
yeah.
down education and this is always internal, like it comes from the inside out, as we say. So it's not top down passing on of knowledge, and it's different, man. So yeah.
100%. And then during your time, did you do teach? Are you teaching or have you done teaching
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
past?
yeah. Well, actually, I got into teaching in '98, like really early on. Somebody asked me, like, "Yo, can you teach?" And I was like, "Okay." So I got in front of a class, and I
Yeah.
never broke down my move. So I stumbled into teaching basically. So it took me a while to basically understand, as a teacher, you shouldn't just give moves and techniques, but actually make people
Mm,
hungry and make them ask questions instead of only giving them answers. So,
right.
like, there's this saying, right? Like, and it goes for teaching, I think, in general. Like, if you give people a fish, they have food for a day. If you teach them how to fish, they're not hungry the rest of their life, right? So I think as a
Mm,
teacher,
yeah.
this is something that I learned. Like, it took me a while, but like don't see yourself as the person with all the answers, but at least somebody that can guide them in the right directions and give and create questions that will make them searchers, just like I am. So yeah, I've been teaching since '98, and then after COVID or during COVID, I actually contributed to the first vocational study in Holland that offers a
Oh.
3-year education for
Uh-huh.
breakers to
Oh,
prepare them
no way. That's
for
sick.
a potential working field, right? So basically, this summarizes my whole life journey because I can share there everything that I learned. But we invite like a lot of people that found a way to make a living of breaking, and I must say in Holland, it's pretty impressive how many people actually found a way. Whether it's a DJ or somebody like Menno winning 4 belts, or somebody like Tyrone organizing successful events all over, like we actually get them to the school, and there's these people, youngsters that usually they're training just like everybody else, like every day of the week, but they
Yeah.
actually realize like, yo, I want to keep doing this, but how? And then our mission is basically to give them the professional skills to be nice to work with, because skills alone don't do that, right? And to give them
Yes, yes.
insight in what comes apart from those skills that you need as a professional to become a hustlepreneur, we say jokingly, but that's basically what you end up being, because like we try and prepare them to see the value of their skills and knowledge, and to also make them aware of where there's a demand for those skills and for that knowledge. So this can be anything, and it
Mm,
depends of course on the person. Some people, they gravitate towards theater, so we have like classes that introduce them to working with a choreographer. There's classes that really prepare them for battle. There's theory classes where, for instance, I break down judging systems. Like it's this study. It's insane because I don't know. And when there's a lot of like sort of classes where we sort of dig deep into them, like what's your goal? Write it down. See if you can make it the steps towards your goal, and then you can see the development. Like it's insane. So it's something that I never knew would work, but we started it 2021, and
uh-huh,
the students keep on like coming. The classes are still small, like average is 10 kids in a class, but all
uh-huh.
super hungry, smart kids, and they're everywhere. They're out there, entering battles, organizing little events, and we're just passing on whatever we know, man. So yeah, I think education is hugely important. Hugely important.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. Um, the education definitely in the experience that you learn and knowledge that you could bring into a more uh knowledge passed down to the youth and have them get a sense of a guidance of how can they use those abilities to move forward with those skills.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah, mentioned like within the breaking,
I even
you
see
know.
that as one of my main how do you call it, functions at this moment. Like being my
Oh,
age, of course I enjoy breaking, but I don't expect to sort of like win Red Bull belts anymore or whatever. Like I don't even have that ambition. I never really
mm-hmm.
had. But um I think the older you get, to stay like when it comes to the topic of longevity, like I saw a part of the talk you did with Data, like another guy like 45 still ripping it, but I
Yeah,
think getting older comes with this awareness that we can still add value on different levels by passing on what we learned. And some things will click and others they lose value because it's a skill that is useless now. But still, I think the more we as people sort of, get, I think the same with parenthood, like you get into this being of service sort of state of being, right? Where you sort of find ways to, give back. And
yeah,
I think education is like that's what it's all about. It's making people curious, passing things on that are of value, and basically make them ask the right questions. Because we don't have all the answers, but at least make them aware of what where they can search, for instance. Like who they
yeah,
should ask. Like the same way you give a workshop. Name drop. Like Paul One is a great example. Like when he gives a workshop, you go home with so much research that you have to do because you're like, yo, I want to see who that person was he talked about, and that person, and that move came from that person. Like, snap, I need to write this down. And he will actually send you a list of all the names he mentions or whether he shows footage. Like, and I think this gives people so many sort of leads that and I think that's truly what educating is.
yeah. Dang, yeah, it's 100%. We gotta pass down the knowledge, kind of help guide
Yeah.
the the way. Some of the stuff I think of, I was like, I didn't ha have a sense of that when I was in breaking. Kind of like more of the history, more of the guidance of what events we should go to or travel wise, and then kind of a guidance, how can I utilize my ability in um in a different way to have a path of like leveling up in a sense of like either breaking or can I use my skills for breaking events too? Because I've done jams in the past, right? And this is all like just me doing this, and the previous crewmates I got it with. I mean, one of them, a few of them are still breaking, but they're not very active. But we've always been kind of local. And I think kind of shaping that way as education and kind of showing them a way to this could be a possible career of how to do it helps them give a guidance and pathway to pursue. So I think education is a huge part.
For real, man. And it starts with confidence in and in believing in your skills and that it adds value, right? Because I think most of us grow up in a surrounding where people force us or basically push us a little bit to choose security over freedom. And
Yeah.
make career choices that will guarantee that you have a good income, and choosing arts and dance and music in general is always, people get scared when you say that's your ambition, right? They're like, yeah, but so what do you do if
Yes.
you cannot dance anymore, and what will be your real job, what if you have to provide, so I think a lot of people are being talked out of it, and it takes a very strong conviction that this is something you're good at and something you want to pursue. um so because, like, I've been saying this a lot, but I think when you choose for a career in breaking, you basically choose freedom and you choose to pursue that what you love, and you pay with security. Where
Hmm.
the other option for me was to sort of choose security and pay with freedom, and that was not really attractive to me. But I think there's a lot of middle roads, because I also heard a lot of people that said, really stay away from making breaking your job, because then you all of a
Hmm.
sudden are forced to do it. Always have a side job, and then be able to break with the real full passion in your spare time. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
all depends really on what you think this life is about and what you want to get out of life. And I studied philosophy, so philosophy actually, it throws you back a lot on why are we here and what's the purpose of life, right? And so I think a lot of
Yeah.
people that chose breaking as a career or basically fell into it and stuck with it, they made a philosophical choice somewhere along the road where they said, yeah, I want to pursue this. This actually has value, and I'm able to sort of give back on way more levels than just sort of showing my skills and impressing people with, look what I can do. Because that's what a lot of people
Yes.
think initially breaking is like, oh, you want to show off, you want to show you can do something. Yeah, but then there comes this whole culture with it that teaches us a lot of valuable things and a lot of like, bro, just us connecting. What are the odds? Like we live like how many miles across from each other? But there's this instant connection because we share a same sort of interest or passion, and I think this is beautiful, and it can be an example for a lot of people. The way hip hop united people and still does. It's
For,
it's
yeah,
a
for
big
sure.
inspiration for me. Like,
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And, it's a couple of things in my head. It's like you can pursue different avenues where it can help provide in the sense of building value and showcasing as in performance paid gigs to perform at certain areas. The judging industrial work, there's a lot of avenues you can pursue in art performance to make a sort of full-time living doing this pursuit of dance. But like you mentioned, when there would be a sense of cap when we get older. How do we utilize it to build longevity to keep doing this? And I think that's where it gets tough for some others, but we gotta kind of be figure out how to do it. And long term, dance studios, education, and just kind of built it to kind of pave that wave to the new generation to see what's out there and what's possible. And I think you live in the era where this is all new. We're all learning.
that's the
Y-
pioneering part, man. For real. It is. But there's similarities because if you think about it, almost every city now has the same infrastructure when it comes to braking, right? Meaning, if you go to a random city, you can probably hit up a training spot, right? So
Right, right,
somebody is
yeah.
providing the training spot. Somebody's making sure there's like a regular training. So that's what? That's a building. Even when it's raining, people can train. So there's already some sort of funding going on or money or whatever. So this is one thing that you can provide for your community. Then as soon as talent pops up, people want to interact. They want to be able to meet each other to test their skills. So you start throwing events. Well, there goes a lot of expertise into that, or just entrepreneuring, where somebody actually needs to take the initiative to, yo, let's throw an event. Oh, this was a success. Let's keep doing it. Let's make it a regular, like blah, blah, blah. So there's already work there that
Hmm.
provides. It's just creating surface. Then you will sort of you will need a lineup. You will need a DJ. You will need a host. You will need judges. So you will actually give people a chance, or ask around, or check with the elders and see who will actually be fit for the job. If there's some more funding, you get people from out of the country, whatever. So there's this thing, this machine that we sort of create, even just to continue to do what we love, right? We need music. So like the DJs will stay active, their music will sort of like reach us, like all the elements I feel just to break, just to practice or whatever. Like even if you have no ambition, it already needs a certain environment infrastructure that the community provides. And then as
Yeah.
soon as skills really start to develop, and you see people having been getting different ambitions. Like, so the one person goes to do auditions for a theater show and ends up doing what, 40 shows in a season, doing purely breaking, and that's what they keep in shape for. And then there's others that's just gonna hit competitions. And then there's like entertainers that like have all these commercial jobs, like, so there's so many. And there's other people that are like, no, I just want to teach, and I stay fit by passing on and learning new kids and creating a new generation. Somebody picks up coaching, like, oh no, I have these kids and I really want to prepare them for battles, and I'm going to train routines with them and take them to events. And like all these initiatives, I think we see them all around us all of the time. And then there might be somebody in the crew be like, yo, I can draw up the flyer, or I'm good with Photoshop or whatever. And then there's like all these different skill sets. Like even like a good example, we had this one kid who entered this vocational study, right? It's called Creative College, by the way. Creative
Hmm.
College. And he was there as a breaking student, but he picked up a camera and started taking photos at events. And then within a year, he basically hustled his way into each event that was going down in the Netherlands, and he was taking photographs, and they were dope.
Mm.
And he basically was upping his skill like really fast. And that's just like something that we didn't think of before. It wasn't when he applied for the school, we didn't ask him like, "Yo, do you have a talent for photography?" No, he just developed it. And since he was in the right surrounding and he was like getting
Yeah.
all connects, like he made his name like really fast. I'm like, yo, like so it all depends on the individual, like the skills they have, the interests they have, and to see where they can sort of add value. Like that's, by the
Mm.
way, that's my definition of work, right?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about work, we're trying to sort of find work in breaking.
Yes.
The
Yes.
students, my definition of work is just finding a way to add value with your knowledge and skills. That's it. So that's basically meaning that you're getting paid for whatever you know or what you can do, right? That's work in general. So then how it is translated to this 3-year study that we provide is that in those 3 years we want to do two things. We want to sort of cultivate your skills and knowledge to the highest degree, and get you, on top of that, make sure you're informed and have like some professional skills. At the same time, get you into contact with all those spots where there might be a demand for whatever you have to offer. Because that's a blind spot for a lot of people that are young. They don't know.
Right. Yeah.
They're at home with all this talent. So you can either be sour for other people getting jobs, or, chase them yourself and be out there and show up and represent, right? So yeah, man, we try and make it simple, but it's not simple because it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it's a lot of hard work and dedication to pursue what you need. That is whatever you want to pursue.
Yeah.
And I think passion flows a lot of it where it
Yeah.
flows to what you want to gravitate to and proceed and build a successful, in a sense, where you want to build it. I know you mentioned 3-year school. For people that don't know, you're on Netherlands, Amsterdam. How can we find this school? How do we get in touch with that?
Hi. So the school actually, it has an Instagram called. It has the word urban in it, which we still try and get out of there. But it's called the Urban Dansopleiding, and dans is like the Dutch word for dance, but it's spelled with a S at the end instead of CA. And opleiding is also a Dutch word. It's OP. Anyway, the urban dansopleiding. And they have like it's a school in Utrecht, not in Amsterdam, but it's 20 minutes from Amsterdam. And they have like also all the stand-up styles. This already existed way before we started with the breaking. So they had like just basically all the club styles, street styles. They were teaching them already. So that's how I started there. I started there in 2013, just giving the breaking course. And then as soon as 2019 came around and it was announced breaking goes to the Olympic, this school was like, "Yo, Jurskee, we have a funny question. You think we can start like a 3-year education based on breaking?" I was like, "Yo, hold up, wait a minute. Like, nah, that's you don't
Yeah.
learn breaking within the walls of education. You learn it in practice rooms and by going out there and whatever." So I had to sort of like take some time and talk to some people, including Tyrone, who gave me the advice to have Zoom meetings with all the people that potentially could have a strong opinion about this, right?
Hmm.
So this is basically people that are deeply involved in the breaking scene in Holland. And we really wanted to know what they felt about it, because we were not sure ourselves. Like, yo, you think it can work to actually hand out diplomas for finishing a 3-year breaking education? What does this diploma mean? What does this paper mean, right?
Yeah.
So it was through those talks that everybody was like, yo, I'm skeptical because, yeah, what can you really learn in 3 years? But since our angle was like, yo, but we want to give them that bit of extra that you don't learn in a training room. Like, you can learn skills in a training room, but nobody will explain you how to write an invoice, you know?
Right.
It's not what
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
training for. So these extra skills that people like us had to learn ourselves, like, yo, should I become entrepreneur? Like, because then you have to go to the taxes and say, yo, I want to make money this way. And it's some paperwork and stuff like, when is the moment to do this? Nobody will advise you about that if they're not breaking at that level, right? So
Right. Yeah.
basically all what came back, and there was also people like Menno that was in the calls, and he said, yo, if we can teach them in 3 years what took us our whole career, that would be super dope.
Yeah.
So, and then we offered them all to be involved. And, of course, some people are super busy traveling the world and whatever, but they say, whenever I have some free time, I will come and do a course about their specialty. So we have like people like Nobunaga teaching, Kane from Muscle Kids is teaching there, Taufi
Oh, okay.
like being there for power moves, and Tyrone has been giving them projects even for IBE, and sometimes we have
Oh,
international guests passing through. So I had some Zooms with Focus, and Quick Step was at the academy, like. So it's super dope. Like,
yeah.
people come in and out. Like, if Po1 is there, like, he will come and share. So they get so much information. But so yeah, man. Basically, I even forgot the freaking question.
No, you're good. No, explaining. You mentioned the Instagram.
Oh yeah,
You gotta message me that, and I'll link all that in the description below. So
yeah,
if
I will.
you're on in that area, want to
And
learn
we're
more.
in the process of trying to make it open for international students, because at this moment it's a Dutch education.
Mm,
It's still a little bit tricky. We do it within an already existing structure, which is really
yes.
mainly aimed at Dutch students, right? But we had a guy from Taiwan, shout out to Black Jay, who actually was living in Holland, and then he was in the first year of the education and he finished the school. So we will find ways basically to get you in. But at this moment, like, the classes are in Dutch and everything.
Right.
It's yeah, it is what it is at this moment.
No, it's a great thing. I think that's something awesome to help provide and you know, get those studies and education for whoever wants to be involved, wants to learn more. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, man, we have to. And I mean, I've been like, this is sort of hot off the press, but I've been contemplating of also starting writing, really write like put out a book to sort of like
Mm, yeah.
accumulate knowledge, because like I've been having a lot of talks and so many talks, and then last year I was had a lot of talks with Polsky from Mighty Four, and he
Okay.
helped with Lean Rock and with Worry the Warrior from France with their books. Um,
Yeah, I know the Lean Rock one came out, I think this year or
Worry the
was it last year?
Warrior is from Paris, France. He's a rocker, so he has a whole book about the rock dance. But he published both, and the whole mission of somebody like Polsky is that, like, we have like such a lack of written knowledge in hip hop culture
Yeah.
in general, so, but sometimes we forget that even at academic level, we are being studied. especially in the wake of Paris, like people wanted to bring out articles and sort of analyze what was going on and what breaking is. And then it's super hard to find sources, like they're really scarce. It's crazy. And then there was somebody like Polsky that said, like, yo, if you want to know something about martial arts, you can go to a library and find like this many books about karate or about whatever. And then
Oh,
how many are there
right.
about breaking? What, like just a handful. So he's encouraging everybody to write down their story and to pass on whatever they accumulated over the years. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tough process, but as soon as you leave it behind, like it will stay there.
Yeah. 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 I think a few people who else? Alienist wrote a book.
Yeah,
Storm,
Storm
I wrote a
several.
book.
Yeah,
Not sure who else out there, but
Midas.
oh, Migas?
Yeah, Migas wrote a book, a good one too, about the origins of breaking, like the birth of breaking. It's called. Like there's a lot of
Oh,
books,
no
because I
way.
collect them.
Okay.
Like even Powerful Paxton wrote a book. Like I now bought the book of Fab Five Freddy, who was very instrumental in forming hip hop culture as we know it. Like inviting Bambaataa down to the popular clubs, getting them into contact. Like I even have a theory that because of Fab Five Freddy, somebody like Africa Bambaataa formulated the four elements to sort of explain to other people that all these cultural forms that were coming from the Bronx and all the boroughs, they were actually
Yeah.
connected and labeled them as hip hop. Yeah. So and he recently passed away. Like of course he has a whole black history as well. How do you call it? A black page in his history with the child
Mm-hmm.
molester rap. So it's whack. But that's also part of hip hop. Our history is not clean. But it needs to be written down for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think Ronnie did a podcast with Casper, and Casper was saying how breaking is still early in age. We're so young in the culture to develop. And
Yeah.
so, thinking about like what you mentioned of the books, and
Yeah.
we are probably still at that early age of breaking.
Some of the pioneers are still there. Some of the people that threw down at Herc's parties are still there, like Sasa and whoever you got, man. Like people that were never on camera, but they're still alive. You can still interview them. It's insane. So yeah, we are a super young culture. And to come back to your question, whether I think it will formalize like the older it gets, I think yes and no, because the spirit or the DNA of breaking or of hip hop in general is always to sort of challenge people to tell their own story, not a story that's already
Hmm.
out there. It's always asking, who are you? What makes you different? And the only thing it provides is a different type of language. I think breaking really is a language that allows a lot of people to express themselves physically in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Like you can put so much emotion in the way you connect to music and the way you sort of like use the moves. So I actually go really deep with that when it comes to seeing breaking as a language, because I think if you make that connection, right, then the moves are words, and the format of breaking is the grammatic that we use to make sense, right? So we have a top rock entrance, we have like a go down, we have like whatever we do on the floor when it comes to footwork, freezes, direction changes. That's where we can show the subject of what we want to say, right? And then we have to sort of make an end to our sentence, which can be like an exclamation mark with like a big blow up or a big freeze, or it can be like just like a smooth transition where you sort of like leave the conversation open for somebody else to come in. So, but there's a structure to the way we build our sentences, and there's a strong need to communicate in circles where we basically tap into the same subject by throwing the same sort of moves but doing it our own way, right? So I
Hmm.
think as soon as you start thinking about breaking as a language, it everything makes sense. The same with like, okay, you can learn it in school. Let's say I want to learn Japanese. I can get to go to a Japanese class and I learn Japanese sentences. And there's other people that say, no, I skipped the whole school. I just migrate to Japan and I will pick it up there. And they will probably learn the local language way faster than when you spend years in a Japanese class here in Holland, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
it creates two different types of students. So there's students that say, no, I go to the source, I go live in New York and I'm going to like go into clubs and try and mingle with whatever the raw of the raw. And there's people like, yeah, no, I just want to have my safe class and I learn step by step and I learn a little routine. And then, because even like
Yep.
remember when people were hating on teachers or workshops teaching routines, but it's just a way of teaching. Like during French class, we also had to repeat the same sentence, like, and then you have to say that all the time and work on your articulation. So it's the same when a teacher comes in and he teaches a routine. It's like, this is a sentence. I'm going to teach you the sentence. You're going to repeat after me, even if you don't even know what you're saying initially. You're just going to repeat the sentence, and I'm going to check if you pronounce it right and if the energy behind it is right. And that's also a way of learning. And then later
Yeah.
on, you're like, okay, I can freestyle now. Like the
Right,
same with
right.
you. Like you scripted your talks, right? But now we just enter this talk without scripting it because you're sort of went a level up to a master level where you can go with the flow. It's the same with breakers.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
first bite, so we basically say exactly what somebody else said, and then we're like, oh no, well actually this is weird. Now I sound like this person. Let me say what I want to say.
Yeah. I think the when you mentioned the language, that could be, different ways to like understand for like a general public. It's hard for them to get the whole essence of our culture, in the sense of like what we do, that footwork into that freeze, but those details we saw how they did it was more powerful than a guy doing a windmill flare in a
Yeah,
sense, it's
yeah,
but in the general public, they'll see that windmill flare because it's power moves, that's explosive,
yeah.
but they kind of miss some of those details that a
Of course.
judge or you and I would see, that'd be like, ooh, that was
But
sick,
that's the nail on
but
the head, and
they miss it.
that's like the lost in translation part that we will always have to deal with. Because like if you're insider, then you're not impressed by just another head spin, right? But
Yeah.
mom, she want to see me head spin all day, every day. I remember when I did like a show on TV and I did a head spin, and then I was asked back because it was a competition, and she told all the neighbors, "Yo, go watch my son will do a head spin," and I didn't, because I'm not there to repeat. She was all mad, like I'm like, "Yo, mom, I'm not gonna repeat the head spin." Like it's the same probably what happened in Paris when people were like, "Yo, Hero 10 like he's gonna watch this guy. He's gonna spin super fast." That's what they care
Yes.
for, and they don't care if somebody repeats. They just like the look of it. And it's almost like they like the sound of somebody singing a certain voice, but they don't really care about the lyrics, right? So
Right.
and
Yeah.
we are actually about, yo, you just said that before. It doesn't make sense. Like, cool. We see you can do that. Bring something new, right? But I think
Yeah. And
this is a challenge for the breaking scene in general to help getting people in. And that's
hmm
basically like that mind body soul I talked about before with the Trivium system. It gives a good entrance point to break down that, yo, there's a physical part to this dance, but there's also an artistic part to this dance, and there's also the dancing part to this dance. And especially
yes.
if you would know how many people didn't know that breakers during competitions don't know what the music will be, everybody was like mad surprised. What? You freestyle? It's not a routine. Like they didn't know. It's like, yo, but that's if you don't even know that, then you miss a big part of the challenge that breakers have, to sort of adapt to whatever music is playing. But we like that challenge. I mean, that's part of the fun, right? That we don't know what's gonna be played and then still make it look good. But I think if you already missed that part, plus you missed the conversation we have on an artistic level, then you have only one third left, which is like the spinning part or the entertainment part where somebody shows his emotions and connects with the music in a certain way that everybody feels.
Yeah. And it kind of falls back with the judging system you mentioned, trying different methods and trying to figure out how can we make it easier to understand and hopefully maybe the
Yeah.
general public can understand in a sense of
Yeah. I
who
mean,
knows.
did you watch it? Did you see some of the
The
battles?
which one?
Because like there was one, right? And I mentioned it a few times already, where it was Hero 10 against Victor. It was still in the round
Oh,
robin.
right.
And Hero 10 had to win this round to be in the top two of his group, and then he would make it to the top eight. But he knew like it's this or nothing, right? And then he lost against Victor, or he gave everything. But in a way,
Oh, right. Yeah,
he
I
already
did.
knew.
Yes.
But it was his last run. He just did classic Hero 10. So he was like full power, like, crazy drill. And then I think he almost broke down and cried or something. Like it was mad emotion.
hmm
But then Victor took the rounds because Victor basically showed some more arsenal, some more like more of his own stuff, all the stuff that we just talked about that we care about as a breaking community. But then there was like 6,000 or more people that started booing. Like the whole arena was
Oh
like
no.
boo because he lost. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on here? But then it all clicked because all of those people came with the expectation. This is what breaking is now in 2024. The level is next. next level. People spin like mad, so that's what they came for. So then when they see
Yes.
somebody who's just styling, being musical, they're like, yeah, but that doesn't impress me. But they miss so much information. So I feel that was an opportunity if we would have had more time or that we can use in the future to basically help break down the decision that was made by 9 judges during that event. And
Yeah.
one of the things, because I went into the statistics and I went to see the votes, and because they had like certain, of course, like the qualities that they look at, all of the 9 judges gave uh, the technical comparison they made. They all gave it to Hero 10. So
Hmm.
this already, if you could tell the audience, like, yo, you're not crazy. You saw that this guy's had more body control and was spinning faster. Correct. The judges felt the same. But on a vocabulary level, he was repeating. And you probably missed
Right.
because you don't care that much and you don't can even distinguish the moves, right? But he was repeating, and all the judges felt that that's also, Victor showed different, more variety, whatever. And that's something that we value too. Then they would already wake up and be like, "Huh, yeah, okay, yeah, now I can see it. Yeah, maybe he did repeat."
Yeah. Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So we're still learning till this day how do we captivate some of those audience more than just the power moves. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's great, dude. I know you broke down some of the judging system, some of your origin stories. I think I'm gonna slowly wrap it up here, Jersky, but is there anything you want to bring up in conversations we haven't spoke about? Okay. Hey, Jersky, something on your end didn't stop recording. I'm not sure why. Let me pause it. We had some tech difficulties, but Jersky, you're mentioning that giving the platform the voice to kind of conversate and speak. Can you speak more about it? What
Yeah.
you were saying before we
So
lost connection?
basically, yeah, I just want to give you props and all the people that create podcasts and that have talks with like intergenerational talks basically, because I think this is something that I also tell a lot of people that are, staying active and move their way up. It's like keep mentioning the people that mentored you or formed you or whoever came before you. Like lineage is such an important thing because like over time your skills will fade, but the thing that you will leave behind, like it's certain moments or certain moments that you pass on things or whatever that were valuable for the people around you. And I think to create, to sort of like, how do you call it? To make that happen, we should know like also who the people were before us or whatever. Because sometimes I see OGs
Hmm.
being all lost in an event with all young people. And I'm like, somebody never taught those young kids who actually is in their surrounding, so they can just walk up to them and make that an easy step and just, get some of those fruits from the knowledge that people have. And like for
Yeah.
me, a lot of things changed when my moves started fading a little bit. At first it took away from my identity because when I lost my flair because of a wrist injury, I was like, oh snap! I felt like half a b-boy now because I couldn't do like that
Hmm.
stuff that gave me confidence or made me who I was. Until you realize like, yo, there's so much more that makes you who you are. And I think that's something that when people start realizing they have a function after their skills, then you also start treating your dance differently. So I think it's talks like this that also, in my case, I ran into people that saw a talk and then they feel they know already half of your story, and it makes it easier to sort of like connect. So it's really a
Yeah.
service that you're providing, bro. So I think it's super valuable and dope. So keep on doing it.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for that. Are you working any projects? Anything in the built up horizon?
Well, like of course the academy doesn't stop, so that's
Right,
going
right.
on like until the summer. We're wrapping it up for this year, but next week I organized like a workshop with Paul one that's just random, but he's in
Oh,
Paris,
okay.
so that's dope. I'm looking forward to that. And then 2 weeks after I'll be in Slovenia for this big event called Kids Breaking Championships.
Oh,
um,
nice.
and it's been going like they have their 5-year anniversary, and they've been providing a platform for like new talent, just really focusing on the kids. And they brought out already so many like insane level kids. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see that and see how it goes. So yeah, that's basically what's on my agenda. And then of course in the summer IBE every year, so I'll be there.
Yeah, that's in August, right?
Yeah, man.
August,
August
some
8,
okay.
9, I think. So yeah, and I'm a full-time dad, still. So that's something
Oh, yeah, yeah.
keeps me
How many
occupied.
kids?
I have a daughter of 9 and a son of 4.5. So
Oh, that's awesome.
but they're
That's a
both going to
blessing.
school now, so that freed up some time. So I'm like, this year for me is like, yo, I'm rebuilding myself, like trying to be super healthy, fighting the AIDS, you know how it goes. I picked up running, so I'm
Yeah.
like I'm now like running every day because I was always against endurance sports or whatever. But I just figured, I'm not training my lungs or my heart or my stamina by just doing pull-ups, push-ups, and some braking, So I picked it
Yes,
up and it's
yes.
feeling super good. So yeah, that's something that keeps me busy. But yeah, man. And then we have like Youth Olympics coming up, but I'm not involved in any kind of way, and it's been a bit quiet. So, but still, it's happening this year. It's happening in November. So yeah, I'm curious
Mm,
what happens. They have a different quota also. Like there's only 12 b boys and 12 b girls entering, and they're mainly selected on the few events that were there for ranking, and then some quotas of countries. And it's a bit vague, but
okay.
still, I'm curious to see the impact and to see if there's like any chance of breaking still sort of leaving an impact on a broader audience. But we'll see. But in general, like I like the
Yeah.
moment we're now in breaking. I like the fact that it's a bit more quiet. It's a bit more back to the culture. And yeah, because a lot of people popped up during Paris that are gone already. So I don't know. Even at practice, I feel it's more chill. Also for me, because I'm not judging every weekend anymore. Like I'm just there every week practicing with the locals, and it's just it feels good. Like it's back to breaking to the passion and the reason why we do it for. And no glamour, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those loves and those inside community
Yeah, if I just keep
sessions.
doing it, man, and the feeling it gives you. Yeah. It's such a good feeling. It always has been an outlet and part of my identity in a way. Yeah, I think over the years I just became more humble. I just went down towards myself and anything. So that's when you surprise yourself. It's like hell no that I expected I would still be thrown down at 48.
Mhm.
Like what the heck?
Yeah. To
It's
keep the
no,
youth in you
it's
to
dope. It's a cheat code to life. I'm telling you, for real. It keeps you stress free. So yeah.
fire, man. Before we end the show, I want to do what's called a cipher round. You ready for it?
What we gonna throw down?
Top of your head, it's just like 5 questions,
Bring
not
it on.
physically, mentally on your mind,
Cool, cool,
right?
cool.
So like the first question, what's your favorite breaking move?
Oh snap! Oh, we're gonna do the favorites, bro. You know that it never hits the mark, right? Because like over the years, you have so many. Uh,
Yeah, it changes.
yeah, it
Yeah.
changes. It changes. Like freak. Favorite move. Man, there's so many things going through my head because like I have the easiest move that I can always throw, which is a baby mill. So in a
Hmm.
way, it will be my favorite move because I can just always throw it, and I feel it's like yeah, it's fresh. But
Yeah.
well, I go for a more obscure one, and I lost it a little bit the way I used to do it, but it's the ninja freeze. We call it the atomic freeze,
Oh,
and
which
it's
is the
it's the one
ninja.
that comes from Icy Ice, and
Uh-huh.
it's a little bit slept on, but it's just this little like this swipe where you overthrow one leg and you just like land it like a scorpion. Like this one,
Yeah, yeah.
I just love the impact of that move and the way it flips and the way it's like in between power and style. Yeah, let's go for ninja, man.
Ninja. Okay. What do you call it earlier? Atomic freeze?
Atomic freeze. Yeah, I think this is in Germany they call it atomic freeze.
Oh,
I don't know why.
I didn't know that. That's sick. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Second question, do you have a favorite song? This one's harder, huh? The favorite song or artist? Like go-to song. Like let's say you're about to go practice session. If I play the song, oh,
Ah,
you
man,
know
because
you're this
here's the
is gonna get
thing.
you in the mode.
Everything that you put on repeat will get you stuck, you know? So
Yeah.
I actually before I really like to be the curator of the music in the practice room, but now I actually really like to go to practice and somebody else is doing the music because then it
Right.
feels look and yo, you try and discover patterns. So I actually like going into places where I don't know the music, but just for historical reasons like James Brown, man, for real. James Brown,
Mm.
we can give it up, turn it loose.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's just because
There
it's a
you go.
classic, and like I can hear it still till this day, and it has new information. So yeah, man,
Sick, sick.
that's just a classic.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
No, no, that's
No.
easy. No,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not
It's
supposed
one
to
of
be
those hate or
on there
love
too.
questions.
Like what the hell, man? I'm living too close to Italy to say yes to that. Uh,
Oh, right, right.
uh,
Are you listening to any reading any books or audiobooks currently?
have into a few, but currently not really. I'm trying to pick up the classic meditations of Marcus Aurelius.
Mm,
I think like it's sometimes because of my life, like you said in the early the beginning, like life caught up with the kids and blah blah blah. I find it
yeah,
hard to sit down and read. So I think
yeah.
audiobooks are good. So thank you for the reminder because I was actually because I'm running now, like I want to listen to just books while I'm running.
Oh,
So I need to make that work. So that will be the meditations of Marcus Aurelius.
yeah, yeah. Dope, dope.
Yeah, because I never really read it even during my study of philosophy. Like more and more I hear references to it, so I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's
Audiobooks
also a
good
good
too.
entrance point for a lot of people that want to get into philosophy. So that
Nice.
will be the one that will be on my podcast or how do you call it? Listening book. Yeah.
Audio.
Audiobook,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Audiobook. Yeah.
yeah.
Nice, nice. Last question. If you can enter a competition for a 2 versus 2, do you know who your partner would be?
You will need some training. Well, it will be my homie Soul Trotter. Like
So,
Soul
yeah.
Trotter. Yeah, Soul Trotter. Like he's like we go way back, and we always had a good vibe. Like we're different in a lot of ways, but at the same time, like we have the same passion for breaking. He's now in Dubai. He's directing movies, and he's all out of shape and shit. But he, like his fire when it comes to battle, like that, like, because for a while we would enter actually two on twos, and
Yeah.
we call ourselves like he was in Turnitus as well, but then we split off to sort of create a battle crew called Soul Warriors,
Mm.
and the Soul Warriors like that was some dope times. Like we had like some classic routines and whatever. So yeah, man,
Oh,
would love
nice.
some naughty 40 battles with him. Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's all we got right now. And Jersky, if people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Mostly on Instagram, so that's just Jurskee, easy, and it's Jurskee with a SKEE. I'm on Facebook, but that's just an old dying old man's platform, right? But like, I basically repost
Hmm.
what I post on Instagram there. But sometimes I have like some nice discussions and talks on Facebook that are not happening on Insta. But it's mainly Instagram. I'm not on anything else. I tried
Dope.
Threads for a while, but I don't get it. I don't know. I don't see the value of it.
What is it?
The Threads,
Oh,
like
Threads, which is like Twitter X, but Instagram meta version
yeah,
Threads.
nah, it wasn't me.
It's a little different. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't clicked to that either.
And I'm slacking on LinkedIn because like I know on a
Yeah.
sort of like business level, like that's another platform that basically even when it comes to articles that are being shared, like I think it's better for that. But I'm yeah, I'm not on there enough or not at all actually. But
Mm. Yeah, I
yeah,
heard a
and
lot of good
also I
things about
think YouTube
LinkedIn.
is underrated because I see a lot of people like having their clips on YouTube, and it's just such a library, you know, way more than Instagram. And I
Yeah.
only like started realizing just recently like how valuable that is to have like freaking archives on your YouTube account, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I should
YouTube
make
is
use of that more too as well. But no, for now, Insta it is.
dope. Dope, man. Jersky, it's a pleasure speaking with you. You dropped some value knowledge. Dude, thank you for being on the show. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yeah, man. Cool. Thank you.
Dope, dude. Peace.
Talk to you soon. Peace.